Alrighty, folks, welcome to my college basketball free pick video here today for Friday, November 28th, 2025. Happy Black Friday to you. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving with your family or friends, or maybe you were working at the casino. I don't know. I just hope you had a great day yesterday. I had a great day with family yesterday. Not so great betting on sports, but hey, that's a part of the game. I signed up for this shit, so you just got to put on your big boy pants and move along. I realize not a great way to start the show, but got to be honest with you. Lost a good amount of games yesterday on the premium page. But listen, we're here to bounce back. I got some really good games, I think. I think we're going to cash on today. I think it's going to be a great bounce back day on Black Friday. And listen, if you want to see which one of the games on the college basketball slate here today that I actually like the best, I did just post this morning my college basketball tier package play here today for Friday. Once again, it's already posted and ready for access. All you got to do is sign up for that membership to see who I like here today in college basketball. And with that, let's go ahead and take care of the free content. We're going to start off with, it's so early too that it's not even listed on the big screen. I'm talking about Virginia Commonwealth taking on Virginia Tech. That's VCU versus Virginia Tech, 10:30 a.m. Eastern tip-off. And this is a good game. I know I've been joking around about the past week or so. We typically start off with pretty crappy games. Well, this should be a good one. Once again, VCU taking on Virginia Tech, 10:30 a.m. Eastern tip-off. Virginia Tech's -2, total is 153.5. Now, Virginia Tech 6-1 on the year, doing some real nice things on defense, doing a great job on the defensive end of the floor. The Hokies really don't send a whole lot of shooters to the foul line, and they've been tough against the three ball. They're holding their competition to just 27% shooting from outside the perimeter, and they're facing a VCU team who lost 2 out of their last 4 losses to the likes of Vanderbilt and NC State. When it comes to the total, both schools with unders in 4 out of their last 6, respectively. I like Virginia Tech -2, under 153.5. Another banger, arguably the best on the slate here today. Illinois taking on UConn, 12:30 Eastern start. UConn's 2.5, totals 155 and a hook. And I'll tell you what, both programs doing some great stuff on the defensive end of the floor. The Huskies are limiting opposing teams to just 38% from the field, giving up only 62 points per contest. Meanwhile, the Illini on the other side, well, they're in the top 20 in the nation in blocks. They rarely send shooters to the foul line. Illinois is actually in the top 15 in the nation and fewest free throws allowed. Illinois with unders in their last 4 straight. UConn with unders in 3 out of their last 4. I like the under 155.5. Vanderbilt, St. Mary's, 1 o'clock East. Vandy's 2.5, totals 152 and a hook. Of course, both schools are undefeated in this matchup. Another one of those games where both programs have been tough on defense. Vandy's holding opposing schools to just 39% from the field. They're in the top 25 in defensive boards. Meanwhile, St. Mary's, they're allowing just 60 points a game themselves, top 5 in the nation in defensive field goal percentage. Gales with unders in 3 out of their last 4 qualifying ball games. Vanderbilt with unders against Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky. I like the under 152.5. Next matchup, Nevada taking on San Francisco. That's going to be a 2 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The San Francisco Dons are -4, totals 148.5, and the Dons are 5-2 on the year, holding opposing schools to just 39% from the field. San Francisco also has done a nice job of rebounding. They're in the top 20 in defensive boards per game. They're facing a Nevada team who lost 3 out of their last 4, failed to cover in all of those contests except 1. When it comes to shooting the basketball, the Wolfpack's currently 314th in offensive field goal percentage. Nevada with unders against UC Santa Barbara and Louisiana Tech. San Francisco contest went 4-2 to the under in their last 6. I like San Francisco -4, under 148.5. Next matchup, Oklahoma taking on Marquette. That's going to be a 2 o'clock Eastern start. Oklahoma's -3, totals 161.5. And even though this is a pretty short number here, the Sooners have been terrible against the point spread. Oklahoma failed to cover in all of their contests this year except one. And I'll tell you what, a lot of that is on the defensive effort. The Sooners are allowing 75 points a game, bottom 40 in field goals allowed. And they're facing a Marquette squad who averages over 83 points a game themselves. Chase Ross, over 20.5 points per contest, 51% from the field. And Nigel James is averaging double-digit points a night, 90% shooting from the stripe. Marquette games went 4-2 to the over in their last 6. OU with overs recently against Oral Roberts, Nebraska, and St. Francis. I like Marquette +3, over 161.5. Providence, Florida, 3 o'clock Eastern tip-off. For some reason, not listed on the big screen. But Florida is -10.5. Total is 165 and a hook. And I'll tell you what, for a team laying double digits in this spot here, the Gators have been brutal against the point spread. They failed to cover in all of their games this year except for one. And on the offensive end, this is a team who's been little threat shooting the long ball. Florida's making just 25% of their three-pointers, bottom 15 in the nation in that category. And they're taking on a Providence team who's in the top 25 in blocks per game on defense. Of course, when it comes to the point spread, they did cover the number in 3 out of their last 5. Those were covers against the likes of Penn State, New Hampshire, and University of Penn. Now, total-wise, Florida games went 4-1 to the under in their last 5. Unders against the likes of Miami and Florida State. I like Providence +10.5, under 165 and a hook. Next matchup, South Florida taking on Colorado State. That'll be a 4:30 Eastern start. Colorado State's -2. Totals 160.5. Colorado State's 5-2 on the year. Best free throw shooting school in the country. The Rams are making 83% of their attempts from the stripe. Top 25 in shooting from the field. Recksteiner and Pasquarelli, they're still perfect from the stripe. Jorgensen and both are drilling over 45% of their three-pointers combined. They're facing a South Florida team who gives up over 82 points a game, sending way too many shooters to the foul line. The Bulls are in the bottom 30 in the nation in free throws allowed per game. Now, total-wise, both schools with overs in 5 out of their last 7, respectively. I like Colorado State -2, over 160.5. All right, next game, Washington taking on Colorado, 4:30 Eastern tip. Washington's -4.5. Total is 155.5 points. The Huskies are 5-1 on the year. Colorado's 6-0. The Buffs are averaging 92 points a game, top 15 in the country in shooting from three land. Isaiah Johnson drills 57% of his long balls, team leader in scoring. Barrington Hargis, he's averaging a dozen points a game himself, 50% from downtown. And they're taking on a Washington school, failed to cover in 3 out of their last 5. FTC's against Southern, Baylor, and Denver. FTC, that's failure to cover. Once again, against the likes of Southern, Baylor, and Denver. The Huskies actually gave up over 80 points a game on average in those FTCs. And no real surprise, Washington with overs in 3 out of their last 5 contests I just mentioned. Colorado with overs in all of their games this year besides one. Give me Colorado +4.5, over 155 and a hook. Texas A&M, Florida State, 5 o'clock East. FSU's -1.5. Total is 168 and a hook. Florida State's 5-1 on the year, doing some nice things on defense. The Noles are in the top 15 in turnovers, holding opposing teams to just 39% shooting from the field. They're taking on a Texas A&M team who suffered losses to UCF and Oklahoma State this year. And I'll tell you, as short as this number is, you got to acknowledge the fact that the Aggies have definitely struggled against the point spread. A&M failed to cover in 4 out of their last 5 contests. Now, total-wise, the Aggies did see unders in those contests against UCF and Oklahoma State. FSU with unders in all of their games this year except one. I like Florida State -1.5, under 168 and a hook. Wisconsin TCU 5:30 Eastern start. Wisconsin's -6, totals 153.5. The Badgers are just 3-3 against the point spread. TCU's covered in 4 out of their last 5. Covers against the likes of Florida and Michigan. The Horned Frogs are limiting opposing teams to just 40% shooting from the field. Top 35 in the nation and fewest points allowed. They're taking on a Wisconsin team who failed to cover in 3 out of their last 5 themselves. FTC's against SIU Edwardsville and Northern Illinois. When it comes to the total, TCU with unders in 3 out of their last 4 contests. Unders against Kansas City and Lamar. I like TCU +6, under 153.5. Next game, Miami, Georgetown, 7 o'clock East. Miami's -4, totals 154.5. The Canes are 5-2 on the year, allowing just 65 points a game. And no real surprise, Miami holds their competition to just 39% shooting from the field. They're facing a Georgetown team who failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. Definitely having a tough time shooting the 3 ball. The Hoyas are making only 28% of their attempts from downtown. Bottom 20 in three-pointers made per game. Canes with unders in 3 out of their last 4. Unders against the likes of BYU and Florida. I like Miami -4, under 154.5. All right, next matchup, it is going to be SMU taking on Mississippi State, 7 o'clock Eastern start. Mississippi State's -1, totals 165.5. The Bulldogs are 3-3 on the year. SMU 7-0. The Mustangs are averaging 93 points a game, top 35 in shooting from the field. Boopy Miller's the team leader in scoring, 42% from three-land, 91% from the stripe. And Corey Washington's averaging over 14.5 points a game himself, 42% from beyond the arc. They're taking on a Mississippi State team who allows over 80 points a game on defense, bottom 20 in defensive turnovers. Bulldog games went 3-2 to the over in their last 5. SMU with overs against Butler, Murray State, and Tarleton. Give me SMU +1, over 165.5. Ohio State, Pitt, 7 o'clock East. OSU's -5, totals 146.5. The Buckeyes are 6-0 on the season, top 5 in shooting from the field. Bruce Thornton, 21 points a game, 60% from three-land. John Mobley, over 16.5 points a night himself, 95% from the foul line. They're taking on a Pitt team who lost 3 out of their last 4, having some problems covering the point spread. They're just 1-4 ATS in their last 5. FTC's against Eastern Michigan and Quinnipiac during that stretch. It was actually an outright loss to Quinnipiac. That is a bad loss for the Panthers. Now, no real surprise, the over did cash in Pitt's last 2. The over cashed in Pitt's contest against Eastern Michigan and Quinnipiac. Buckeyes with overs against Mount St. Mary's, PFW, and IU Indy. Give me the Buckeyes -5, over 146.5. All right, Georgia Tech, DePaul, 7 o'clock East. DePaul's -1.5, total is 146 and a hook. DePaul's 4-2 on the year. Georgia Tech's 5-1. When it comes to defensive play, the Yellow Jackets are allowing only 63 points a game. They're actually in the top 5 in the nation in defensive field goal percentage. Georgia Tech's limiting opposing programs to just 34% shooting from the field. They're taking on a DePaul team who took the loss in 2 out of their last 4. Losses against Northwestern and Buffalo. Both schools with unders in 3 out of their last 5, respectively. I like Georgia Tech +1.5, under 146 and a hook. All right, next and final breakdown for the video. Drake taking on LSU. It's going to be a 9:30 Eastern start. LSU's -11, totals 149.5. The Tigers are 5-0 on the year, winning record against the point spread. And LSU shooting nearly 54% from the field, top 5 in free throws. Max McKinnon with 14 points a game, 90% from the foul line. And Mike Nwoko's averaging nearly 20 points a game himself, 76% from the field. And LSU's taking on a Drake team who does not rebound all that well on defense, allowing nearly double-digit 3 balls a game. Now, they've also suffered losses to the likes of SIU Edwardsville and Robert Morris. Drake with overs against RMU in Northern Arizona. LSU with overs in 4 out of their last 5. Give me LSU minus 11, over 149.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like Virginia Tech minus 2, under 153.5. Gardner-Webb plus 9, over 140. Wake Forest minus 18.5, under 153. Purdue minus 39.5, over 140. Richmond minus 6.5, over 146. Give me the under 155.5 in that Illinois UConn game. Under 152.5, Vanderbilt, St. Mary's. San Francisco minus 4, under 148.5. Missouri minus 29, over 171. Marquette plus 3, over 161.5. Wright State plus 16, over 152. Robert Morris minus 9.5, over 151. Hofstra minus 2.5, over 142. Texas State plus 7.5, over 136. Monmouth minus 3, under 139. Providence plus 10.5, under 165 and a hook. Illinois State minus 4, under 147. UNC Wilmington minus 8, under 144. North Dakota State plus 2.5, under 158. Tulane minus 9, over 150. Youngstown State minus 14, over 146. Charleston Southern plus 18.5, over 150. Virginia minus 22, over 160. Davidson minus 14, over 148. American minus 7, over 132. Eastern Michigan minus 13, under 142. Colorado State minus 2, over 160.5. Colorado Buffaloes plus 4.5, over 155.5 points. Lemoyne College plus 5.5, over 153. Lehigh plus 10.5, over 148. Penn Quakers minus 4, over 153. Florida State minus 1.5, under 168 and a hook. TCU plus 6, under 153.5. Texas A&M Corpus Christi plus 15.5, over 147. Cal State Northridge plus 1.5, over 151. Have a good day.
Love you.
Love you. Black Friday shopping. Should be a lot of crazies out there.
There always is.
Well, they're out every day.
I was just going to say that.
It's going to be no different. It's going to be a normal day out there today. Have a nice normal day.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Cal State Northridge plus 1.5, over 151. St. Louis minus 4, over 159. Wichita State minus 4, under 154. Miami Hurricanes minus 4, under 154.5. SMU plus 1, over 165 and a hook. Clemson minus 28, over 141. Ohio State minus 5, over 146.5. Georgia Tech plus 1.5, under 146.5 points. Albany plus 7, over 145. Jackson State plus 5.5, over 137. Sam Houston plus 1.5, under 156. Minnesota plus 4.5, under 141. BYU minus 10.5, over 150. LSU minus 11, over 149.5. Give me Loyola Marymount minus 9, under 139. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium page, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. That's why I always tell folks that Gold Club package, it's currently a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that, happy Friday to you. Happy Black Friday to you. And avoid all those crazies out there that I was just talking to my wife about.